Hey everyone, okay, so today I'm absolutely delighted to be reviewing this and giving you my thoughts on this palette, which is by the gorgeous Mel Thompson, and it is the Tiny Marvels palette. So I'm going to it's a very short video anyway, but I'll timestamp it. So, just a little bit of background knowledge. I reached out to Mel a while ago about my launch of my eyeshadow palette, and of course she was wonderful and kind and agreed to be the model for it, and it was all wonderful. She also then told me that she was coming out with this collaboration palette, which I was delighted to hear. And she then went on and said that because the time frame of my release, which at that time I wasn't quite sure of when it was, and her release, she actually said to me, do you want me to hold off on my palette until yours is released? Now, who says that, right? Now, of course, I did not want that, and I would have been delighted if both of these had been released at the same time, but I just wanted to share that to show what kind of person she is. She's a very kind person, and I would have been over the moon if this had been released the same day as mine. It would have been just serendipitous. So let's get on with the palette. Now, you get a lot of shades in this palette, and it is a beautiful palette. You've got matte shades, pastels, and these incredibly beautiful shimmer shades. Now, these are one-touch pigments. Basically, if you just touch it with your finger and swatch it on the back of your hand, instant payoff. So for those of you who love really pigmented eyeshadows, you're gonna feel right at home. These shimmer shades are very, very creamy, absolutely creamy, loaded with emollients, so they glide on incredibly well. The matte shades are pigmented, and they blend really well for a matte shade. Matte shades are hard to blend anyway. These offer a lot of pigment and are relatively easy to blend as well. They also blend quite well into each other, which is another big bonus. Now, I don't know actually how much is in the palette because I can't find it, but it looks like there is a pretty decent amount. Without a doubt, it's a big palette. And some of these other shades are so beautiful. I'm going to do some swatches because they're those kind of, I forget, there's a specific word for them. We're just going to call them morphing eyeshadows, where they change color in the reflection of light. They're just pretty. So let's do some swatches on my face and we'll go from there. We'll do the shimmer shades first. So, oh, I need a mirror. Silly boy. So delighted to see this palette because Mel's such a nice person. So it is such a beautiful honor to be able to review this, and link is in the description bar. Look at that one. That is a beautiful shade. Now here is my beautiful one. Now this one is the one that changes color from like a green to a brown and back again. That's a beautiful shade. This is called BB, and it's a really, really beautiful gold. So for those of you who love golds, this is a winner. This is such a pretty shade. It's like a, I don't even know how to explain it, a pink, but with real depth to it. It may not come off on camera, but it's beautiful. And Marvel, this is a beautiful, just a beautiful highlight shade. So you can see that there's a lot of pigment to these. So we're gonna go in with the matte shades. Now the matte shades, pigmented, you're gonna see a little bit of fallout in the pan. That's normal with any eyeshadow palette, you know, no point freaking out. Eyeshadows, the way they're packed, when you start to move in them, they release product. This is a great shade. It's a peach. It's almost like a oh, I forget the word. Oh, I just forget things, you know, old age. What can I say? Pastel green. That's really quite intense for a pastel. Pastel shades are normally not that intense, and these really are. That's a lovely shade called Love Bug. Then we've got Juby, which is this soft lilac color. Then we've got Death Moth. Now, I'm not a fan of khaki colors, but this is probably the best I'm ever gonna see. There is green in here, but with a real depth of brown in it. This one is one of my favorites, called Bugaboo, because it's this really pretty brown, but with this incredible burgundy undertone to it. And then we've got Spider, and look at this. It isn't a black, and yet it performs almost like it. I mean, that is just stunning. The palette itself, I mean, there's bias here because it's Mel Thompson, right? There's bias it is what it is. But incredible first palette, and obviously in conjunction with Sydney Grace. But I honestly believe when Mel does decide to come out with makeup of her own, I truly believe you're going to get something quite extraordinary, because she has this incredible aesthetic, this incredible look. And I know that what she's going to produce, whether it's eyeshadows, lips, liquid lips, I don't know, we've not spoken about it, but I think that what she does come up with will be quite extraordinary. Now, one thing to mention is that, as I mentioned, these do blend really, really well into each other. So by adding a different color, so I'm going to add Fire Butts to this shade here, and it just alters the shade. So don't be afraid to mix and match things, because then you get so many more colors in a palette. Overall, incredibly impressed. And obviously we've got the artwork, tattoos, Mel. It's just it's just very, very lovely. I feel incredibly honored to have this palette, and I will be keeping this forever. Such a nice palette. Thank you so much for watching. Link is down there. Hope you like this palette and are able to support her. She's a very lovely person. Thank you for your time, and I will see you all next week or soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.